Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is not only my greetings to you today, it is also a song title of the 70s rock band New England. But don't worry, I'm not going to sing for you today. Today's topic is New England. In the last episode, we were talking about the first settlers in America and the story of the American independence. Today, in Grundkurs English, we will have a look where all of this took place. The 6 New England states are Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont, as you can see behind me. They are known for their many historical sites and picturesque little towns, but also for the beautiful beaches and the fantastic seafood. I took a closer look at all this. Grammar-wise, Carolyn looks at the indirect speech, die indirekte Rede. And as always, you will meet the cowboy, Mr. Bogart, and Mr. Holmes. Come with me on my sightseeing trip to the coast of Massachusetts and listen to some indirect speech on the way. I decided to drive to Rockport one sunny day, and I ended up getting lost. I had no clue where to go, so I asked a woman on the way for directions. She asked me why I didn't have a GPS system, and I told her I was an old-fashioned person and believed in maps. The next person I asked told me to go straight to the big intersection and take a left, but I didn't believe him, so I got out of my car with my map to ask the way to Rockport.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I asked her if she knew the way, and she asked him if he knew the way because she wasn't from the area. So now I'm asking you if you know the way to Rockport.
Yes, I do. You are here.
Right?
You just go up here, and if you follow this road straight all the way for about 1.5 miles, you come right into Rockport.
Okay.
It's not very far. Only about 1.5 miles.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good time.
Thanks.
The kind man told me all I had to do was to follow the road straight into Rockport. Many people said Gloucester was a nice harbor town and that I should see what the town had to offer. The guy at the tourist information told me Gloucester was America's first fishing community and still was an important center of the fishing industry. The North Shore of Massachusetts is often considered the Golden Coast of the Bay State. The area is known for the many large houses on its rocky shore. A Rockport realtor told me it had begun as a summer destination for many of Boston's wealthiest citizens, and now was home for many who work in the city of Boston. Finally, I made it to my destination, Rockport. Uncle Mike told me many interesting facts about the small harbor town. He said it was a small town in Essex County, Massachusetts, and that it was the oldest harbor in the United States. Julia asked me to ask the locals as many questions about the history of Rockport as possible. She loves history. Anyway, the postcard has tended to become ignored by most of us as a way of keeping in touch. Not me.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I was told that Rockport is the oldest harbor in the United States. Is that true?
No, it isn't. I believe Gloucester is the oldest port in the United States.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll buy this.
Sure.
The nice lady told me Rockport wasn't the oldest harbor. She said it was Gloucester. Uncle Mike was wrong. Anyway, time to write my postcard. I told Julia I missed her and wished she was here. I wrote I would really like her to see this beautiful little town too. My stomach told me it was time for something to eat. Everybody said I had to try the lobster in Rockport. The postmaster told me I would find the freshest lobster at Roy Moore Lobster. He also told me that I would feel welcome the second I stepped through the door.
How you doing?
Hi. Hey, the postmaster says that I can buy the freshest lobster here in the state. Is that true?
It is. Would you like one?
I'd love to have one.
Okay, 1 second. Let me crack it up for you. There's the lobster. Some melted butter for you. There you go.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Go on out back. Plenty of paper towels over here.
Okay.
Have fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you believe that lobster was once food for poor people? Now, the profit made from lobster is more than $1 billion annually. Uncle Mike said that Roy Moore lobster was fun, and he was right. You're sitting on lobster traps, and you're not worried about making a mess. They said it was the best lobster on the East Coast, and they were right. That's the end of today's trip. Even without GPS, I found my way around. And as everyone said, Gloucester, Rockport, and eating lobster were all worth the ride. Now you've heard me use indirect speech. So, Klaus, I don't want to be too direct, but please direct the camera. Direct the camera towards Carolyn so she can explain to our viewers indirect speech. Ready? Action.
Danke, Eric. Eric sagte, ich solle die indirekte Rede erklären. Und da sind wir schon mittendrin. In der indirekten Rede wird berichtet, wovon jemand gesprochen hat, ohne den genauen Wortlaut wiederzugeben. Im Deutschen verwendet man dafür den Konjunktiv. Im Englischen macht man das über die Verschiebung der Zeitebenen, den sogenannten Tense Shift. Wir schauen uns mal ein Beispiel an.
They told me it was.
Der Satz könnte in der direkten Rede so ausgesehen haben. They told me, Doppelpunkt Anführungszeichen, it is. Es geht übrigens darum, ob Rockport nun der älteste Hafen der USA ist oder nicht. Sie sehen, die Zeitebene hat sich verschoben von is, present, zu was, past simple. Der hinführende Satz bleibt gleich. Hier ist das they told me. Tense Shift geht nur, wenn dieser hinführende Satz in einer der Vergangenheitsformen steht. Schauen wir uns mal ein paar Tense Shifts an. He said, I want to go home now. Der Satz steht in der direkten Rede im Präsens, in der indirekten Rede dann in der Vergangenheit. He said he wanted to go home then. Present wird zu past simple. Aus now wird then. Schließlich verändert sich die zeitliche Perspektive des Sprechers und jetzt ist schon vorbei. I have wanted to go home. Direkte Rede, present perfect. Wo haben wir es? Have wanted. Und indirekte Rede, past perfect. Had wanted. Haha, da haben wir noch was Schönes drin. Und zwar this und that. Warum wird this zu that? Aus Folge 2 wissen wir, dass this und that je nach Entfernung des Sprechers verwendet werden. In der indirekten Rede wird daher aus this that. Aus these wird those und aus here wird there. Nächste Grafik, schauen wir mal rein. I wanted to go home yesterday. Wir erinnern uns, yesterday ist eines der Signalwörter für das Past Simple. Einmalige Handlung in der Vergangenheit. Past Simple in der direkten Rede, dementsprechend Past Perfect in der indirekten Rede. Und yesterday wird zu the day before oder the previous day. Denn yesterday könnte zum Zeitpunkt der Erzählung ja auch schon länger her sein. Ich brauche wohl nicht ausdrücklich zu erwähnen, dass beim Past Perfect in der direkten Rede kein Tense Shift mehr möglich ist. So, jetzt fehlt nur noch die Zukunft. Was passiert bei den Future Tenses? I will go home tomorrow. Aus Future Simple wird konditional 1. Aus will wird also would. He said he would go home the following day. Und noch ein letztes Beispiel dazu. Aus dem Future Perfect wird das Konditional 2. Will have gone wird would have gone. Mit dem Konditional beschäftigen wir uns dann in den nächsten Folgen noch ausführlicher. Aber jetzt lauschen wir erstmal wieder Erics Ausführungen. Zu welchem Thema, Eric?
Carolyn, take a guess. America. I already told you about the New England states and their beautiful landscapes. Now you have a chance to get some more information. Our Into the English World with USA Part 3, New England.
The United States of America extend over an area of almost 10 million square kilometers. More than 300 million people live here. The Massachusetts coast, north and south of the capital Boston, forms a vast, beautiful bay. New England at its best. That is why from Cape Ann in the north to Cape Cod in the south, political and industrial dynasties have built their extravagant villas. The Kennedys are here, and East Coast city folk spend the summer here. And despite the cool Atlantic, the region is known as a bathing resort. But New England, and especially Massachusetts, are rich in history. The region around the small coastal town of Gloucester is known as the cradle of the North American nation. Gloucester, the oldest port in North America, was founded only 3 years after the landing of the Mayflower in 1620. The coast, as lovely as it is also dangerous. In October 1991, the storm of the century swept across the Atlantic, destroying half the coastline. Film director Wolfgang Petersen's Hollywood success, The Storm, was based on it. Today, there's no longer any sign of it. On the contrary, the picturesque villages dotted around Boston seem almost to have been rebuilt. Especially Rockport attracts day trippers from Boston and tourists from all over the world. Galleries brush shoulders with restaurants and bars. At weekends, all hell is let loose, and you can't escape the lobster. It's sold from little stalls and handed out to you in small cardboard platters with some melted butter. Perfect. Lobster from the East Coast has quite a reputation. Almost as omnipresent as the lobster is the American flag. Hardly a house, let alone a lighthouse, is without the stars and stripes. No wonder here, at the cradle of the American nation.
Absolutely stunning, isn't it? Those big blue skies with those white little cotton balls as clouds. Just beautiful. And I recommend you go visit that area. Oh, and have a lobster. Oh my gosh. I've never tasted anything that good before.
Ja, der sah aber auch wirklich extrem lecker aus. Und als wir dich vorhin im Film gesehen haben und du dich auf das arme Tier gestürzt hast, da war ja auch die ein oder andere Frage in der indirekten Rede dabei. Das kommt uns sehr gelegen, denn wir müssen auch noch darüber sprechen, wie die Frage in der indirekten Rede aussieht. Bei indirekten Fragen gelten die gleichen Regeln für Zeitverschiebung. Mit dem Fragezeichen entfällt hier auch die Form der Frage. Der Fragesatz wird in einen normalen Aussagesatz umgewandelt. Ein vorhandenes Fragewort, zum Beispiel why oder where, bleibt einfach. Ein Beispiel aus Erics Erzählung. She asked me why I didn't have a GPS. Gibt es kein Fragewort, wird wie im Deutschen mit ob gearbeitet.
I asked her if she knew the way.
Im Englischen ist das dann if oder whether. I asked her if she knew the way. Mehr dazu im Buch und auf unserer Internetseite. Da steht zum Beispiel auch noch, wie Aufforderungen, Bitten und Befehle indirekt wiedergegeben werden. Eric asked me to finish now. Das ist übrigens eine indirekt wiedergegebene Aufforderung. Okay, Eric, weil du so nett gefragt hast.
Actually, Carolyn, I did not say that. I would not dare asking you to stop your grammar program. Well, sometimes. But anyway, let's get on with our program. Our cowboy comes to the rescue in a very serious matter today. The words which are used might seem the same, but it does make a big difference if you confuse the two. See for yourself.
The city of Boston is a major place for the events of the American Revolution. The Tea Party, for example, is one of the key events in the growth of the American Revolution because England is enforcing so many laws upon the colonies.
So, if Great Britain made politics rather than laws maybe there wouldn't have been a revolution then?
Politics? Oh, nobody discusses politics. See, England is a dynasty, and they rule with strict order. They tell the colonies what to do. There is no discussion between parties like there is today, no.
I don't understand you. So, I think it's time to call a cowboy. Hello, cowboy. I have a problem communicating, so can you please come to the rescue?
Okay, I'm coming to the rescue. What seems to be the problem, ma'am?
Nice hat, cowboy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, ich versuche eine politische Diskussion mit meinem Tourguide zu führen und er versteht aber nicht, was ich ihm sagen möchte. Ich möchte ihm sagen, dass es vielleicht nie eine Revolution in Amerika gegeben hätte, wenn England, anstatt Gesetze einzuführen, ordentliche Politik gemacht hätte.
Kein Problem. Er versteht dich nicht, weil du von Politics redest. Das ist etwas anderes als das, was du meinst. Bitte sehr. Erstens, Politik, politisches Leben ist gleich Politics. Beispiel. Politik interessiert mich überhaupt nicht. Politics are not my cup of tea. Und zweitens, Politik als Handlungsweise in bestimmten Bereichen ist gleich Policy. Beispiel. Die Wirtschaftspolitik dieser Regierung ist miserabel. The government's economic policy is horrible.
Thank you, cowboy. Now I know the difference between politics und Politik.
It's a pleasure, ma'am. Just remember one thing. If you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you do is stop digging. The second thing you do is call a cowboy. Inhale and exhale. Okay, boys and girls, we are almost finished with this episode. But let me try to explain to you what the cowboy tried to explain to the little German Fraulein in Boston. Why? Because in our literature piece in episode 13, you will hear the word policy. Here we go. Put your listening ears on. It had always been my policy in pile-ups like this, to lash mightily at anything wearing enemy colors. Also, der gute Junge will also alles zusammenschlagen, was feindlich Farben in diesem Fall Uniformen trägt. Also don't worry, he is talking about ice hockey. But you can see he is talking about a strategy or a motto, and definitely not politics. Another example, in the literature, in episode 7, Thorin the dwarf said, quote, unquote, "We are met here to discuss our plans, our ways, means, policy and devices." Auch der gute Thorin spricht hier nicht über Politik, sondern über eine Vorgehensweise oder Methode. And our policy here at Grundkurs is to learn with a smile. And I know you will have a smile or two while watching our Bavarian in Boston today. Have fun.
Thank you, man.
A sailor has much to do when she's on board a ship.
Yeah. Think about all the responsibility.
Think the responsibility? No. That's the worst thing you can do on a ship. Very dangerous.
No. Think about the responsibility, not sink it.
Okay.
Sink heißt sinken. Sink. Think heißt denken. Think.
I think, no, excuse me, I think it is time for our American-British duo now. They found more to disagree on. I'm sinking.
Mailbox. Letterbox. Saloon or bar. Pub. Napkin. A serviette. Diaper. Napkin. Schedule. Timetable. Two weeks. A fortnight. Wharf. Jetty. Zip code. Postal code.
Good old Humphrey. It's always a pleasure to listen to his wonderful English. So, American. Oh, and Sherlock. You gotta love that guy. And both are such good-looking chaps. Don't you agree? No? Oh, okay. Anyway, I have another eye candy for you. Look out for that handsome guy in the language zone. Our quick and precise sum up. You're talking in a different language, hoping everyone understands you. Beyond the language, there is another dimension. A dimension of articulation, a dimension of self-confidence, a dimension of knowledge. You are moving in a land of both listening and comprehension. You are now entering the language zone. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is an 1865 novel written by the English author Charles Dodgson under the pseudonym Lewis Carroll. We listened with Alice to the Mock Turtle and the Gryphon Recite part of the Lobster Quadrille. What a great book. Since we are talking about lobsters, our American friend manages to go on a road trip to discover the wonderful sights of Massachusetts. Eric didn't dance the Lobster Quadrille. He instead ate the lobster. Eric explains throughout his day trip the interesting grammar structure of the indirect speech. For example, I asked her if she knew the way. Once again, our cowboy managed to save the day by explaining the similarities between the German word politic and the English word politics. The United States is a big country, and we need to take time to understand it and people who live there. For that reason, that was the country of choice again into the English world. Thanks, cowboy, for traveling halfway around the world where all our German brothers and sisters need your extra help in order to avoid chaos. Our fine language detectives Humphrey Bogart and Sherlock Holmes could tell the cowboy a thing or two about finding a place to order a whiskey. If the cowboy is in England, he would go to the pub. If he is in the U.S., he would go to a bar. And we brought this wonderful episode to a close with the bothersome Bavarian, who showed us we all make mistakes with sink and think. It was, as always, a pleasure to be here and to present this program to you. Now that only leaves me to say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed our program and, well, I don't want to be too direct, but please watch us next time. Rainer, was that too direct? Good. See you soon, good luck, and auf Wiedersehen.